Hi, in this video we're going to work with the Hashmap, and I'm going to give you a demonstration that you can follow along with. So by the time you're finished, you should see a couple of different ways that hash maps are created. So let's go to projects and create a new project in Java, and I'm going to call this thing, what is it going to call? It's play map. And let's make a new class inside of the source folder. So let's call this one play map and give it a public main function as well. So I'm going to create three different examples here. I'm going to show you a hash map using an integer pair, and then an integer with a string, and then we'll show a map using two strings. So maps always come in pairs. So I'm going to show in this one that we're going to have an integer, comma integer as our pair. And so you need to put those in the brackets. Looks like when I get done here typing, I have to do the imports. So use java.util as our library source. And then once we're ready to go, we can start creating a few objects in our map. Looks to me like I failed to put in the parentheses at the end. So let's put in an integer map item. So we do the word put, and then you can have like the index number and then finally a second number which is associated with it. So you can see that I'm typing in integer map put. I'm going to put 0, 1, and 3 as the key, and then 100, 200, and 999. So what would this mean? Let's say this represents the number of times that I checked my clock on my phone each day of the month. And so on day 0, I only looked 100 times, and I was very anxious on day 3, and I checked it 999 times. So that would be one way that you could interpret what an integer map is. So if you wanted to print these out, you could do a system out print line, tell it to do integer map.get, and then the number that you want to get for the key. Let's see what happens when we run this. And so we have the three numbers. So in the next example, we're going to pair up an integer with a string. And so I'm going to pair the integer with the actual English word for the number. So you can see that I'm going to put 1 with the word 1, the integer 2 with the word 2, and the integer 3 with the word 3. Okay, so let's say I want to be able to print these. So I'm going to run through a for loop, and it's going to be like a for each loop. Now here's how it works. You have to use map.entry and then the data types as your descriptor of the variable. And so I'm going to call this one number pair. So each one of these represents a pair of numbers. And then following in the second part of the for loop is the string map dot entry set. And so the entry set is the pair again. So this is how you set up the for loop. And then inside of here we can do system out print line, and you can use number pair dot get key and number pair dot get value so that you can get the key and the value. All right, let's see how this works when we run it. So I'll save the work and run, and you can see down here it says the actual number pairs. All right, in the final example we're going to create a 2 pair of strings for our map. And so I'm going to use first and last name as the mapping. So I'm going to use a map with bracket string, comma string, and let's call it name pair. So pick a few people that you know to put their names in. So you put it in with the first name first and then comma last name. So I'm going to copy and paste from the previous for loop, and I'm going to change a few things. First of all, the data type is string and string. And then the name pair is the other name of the object that we're working with. So we're going to change the names instead of number and output for the word. It's going to be first name and then the last name. So let's save this and run the program, and we should see the names printed in pairs below. So let's look at some other operations you can do with these hash maps. You can clear it. So if I type in string map.clear, there'll be no elements left. You could also use the integer map and choose dot remove and remove item 0. And so those are some other operations that you can use with a hash map. So here you go. This is the example of how you would use a hash map. Think of pairs of numbers. If you're familiar with associative arrays in other programming languages like PHP, this is doing the same function.